back to the Irish Racing YouTube channel. Another episode of Formscan in association with Tony Bet. And delighted to be joined by Donn McClean to preview this weekend's action, mostly at Cheltenham, but we'll have a quick glance elsewhere as well. Don, how are you keeping? You were in Goran yesterday, a great day, I'd say.
Yeah, look, it's a great day, Emma. Golf's day, yesterday's Chase day. It always is. There's a brilliant atmosphere there, and the crowds, they always come. It's a local meeting for sure, but it's also really good racing throughout. And it's a midweek meeting. Like it's always, obviously it's on a Thursday, and I think that's it's good because people have it in their diaries from a fair way out. And some good performances yesterday. Like Nick Rocket was very good at winning that day yesterday. He stayed on really well, and he's a lightly raced horse who could go on again. We're talking about the Grand National for him now. And Rocky's Diamond winning the Galmoy Hurdle, he was very good. They didn't go a great pace, but he stayed on really well. And he'd run a big race in the Savills Hurdle at Leopardstown over Christmas at a massive price, and he probably stepped forward from that yesterday. So he's a really exciting young staying hurdler of Declan Creeley's, and I'd be interested to see where he goes next. But yeah, no, that was a really good day.
Yeah, some nice results down there. Like you said, Declan Creeley got the double as well, and a nice spread. And there was good celebrations from that syndicate. Was dancing on the ceiling. Like their court syndicate. I think there was good videos of them going around as well. So yeah, a nice day in Goran yesterday. But like I said, we're going to focus on Cheltenham this weekend with a quick view of it elsewhere as well. And I suppose we'll just go straight into it, Don. I think the first race we might chat about is the 1:15. It is a Grade 2 Triumph Hurdle trial over the 2 miles, and there's a fairly clear-cut favourite in this, East India Dock. I suppose Nicky Henderson's Lombada has kind of taken the spotlight in the juvenile division, but James Owen's horse has done absolutely nothing wrong in 2 starts so far, so he looks a kind of a deserved 4 to 6 favourite. And here's Savignon, who's having his first start for Paul Nicholls, next in the betting at 5 to 1, and Stencil for the French Raiders, Noel George and Amanda Zetter home in their 10 to 1. They like to travel their horses over to the UK. I suppose start on the favourite, Don. I'd say he'd be a tough enough nut to crack here.
Yeah, I'd say you're right, Emma. This can be a good race. Gina won it last year. Definitely Soy won it in the past. Fakir Dideri's won it as well. So it can be a good pointer to the future. And yeah, look, as you said, East India Dock, the top of the time hurdle market has been dominated by the new arrivals. The Lombo was very good at Ascot and solidified at the top of the market. Palladium, not so impressive at Huntingdon yesterday and drifted a wee bit in the Triumph Hurdle market. So I'm sure there'll be another shake-up now with tomorrow's race. And East India Dock, like he's won his 2 races over hurdles. He's got a flat rating of 90, so he's a classy recruit from James Fanshawe to go into James Owens for the Gredley family. He's a half brother to Burdett Road as well. Burdett Road is by Muharar, so obviously top class sprinter. East India Dock is by Golden Horn, so probably more stamina in him than in Burdett Road. But Burdett Road, obviously, he's a pacey horse over 2 miles. And yeah, he hasn't done much wrong. East India Dock, he was good the last day in beating Static. He beat him by 18 lengths, and the 4th horse, Mitard, has won 2 of his 4 races since. So East India Dock, he sets the standard. Sauvignon, you mentioned, of Paul Nicholls having his first run for Paul Nicholls. He won 2 of his 3 hurdle races in France. He beat Sonny Bill actually last time. Sonny Bill is now at Willie Mullins and finished 3rd behind Hello Neighbour in the Grade 2 Juveniles Hurdle at Leopardstown over Christmas. So that's an interesting piece of form. And it's interesting as well that he's got an official rating from the BHA of 138, which is a pound higher than East India Dock's rating. And he's a fair bit, he's a lot bigger than him in the market. So it may be that Sauvignon will be able to put it up to him. Stencil, obviously, as you said, a really interesting runner from France, from Noel George and Amanda Zetterholm, and be interesting to see how he goes. But yeah, look, it's a really interesting race. It's going to be an informative race. The dead heaters from Cheltenham in December, Quintock Hills and Terra Firma, they're out again. But yeah, look, it's East India Dock and Sauvignon. They're the 2 most interesting horses. Obviously, for me, they're at the top of the market. It's not a betting race for me, but yeah, it's going to be an informative race, I think.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with you completely. I find it hard to bet against East India Dock now, to be honest. You mentioned Burdett Road, but he was maybe a little bit awkward as a juvenile hurdle. Maybe that's a bit harsh, but he pulled quite hard and he could run through a hurdle. But East India Dock looks to be a bit more tractable, I suppose. He was maybe a bit keen on his debut, but he was good when winning at Cheltenham last time. We know he handles the track. He could be a tough enough to crack here. Savignon, like you mentioned, that Sonny Bill form. It's interesting, all right, in Willie. I was actually in Willie's during the week, and he seems to like Sonny Bill a fair bit. I'd say they impressed him on debut. But even tongue strap on first time, maybe a slight negative about him. But he should run a nice race. Stencil in, you mentioned him, maybe didn't run his race last time when stepped into Grade 3 company in France. But yeah, I'd say East India Doc, the one who will take all the beating here. Like you said, maybe not a betting race when he's so short in there. But we'll go on to the next race, the big handicap chase on the card, the Betfair Exchange handicap chase over the 2 mile 4. And Ivoko, I think, fascinating runner in here for Oliver Greenall. John Joe O'Neill Jr. taking the ride on here. He's 4-1. Jenny's Destiny, Paul Nichols, Harry Cobden tops the weights, joint top weight with Ivoko. Imperial Saint, Ilvadoto, plenty of good horses in here, Don. But Ivoko was the one who caught my eye. Very unexposed, I suppose, first time in a handicap. He could be interesting, I think.
Yeah, Iroko's a horse that I like an awful lot, Emma. Actually backed him anti-post for the Brand Advisory Chase last year when he had after that Warwick win, and he didn't make it. He was supposed to be out for the season. He did come back and ran in the Turners Chase. Hopefully he'll be running in the Turners Chase this year, the defunct Turners Chase, their discontinued one. And yeah, I thought he could even be a Gold Cup horse this season, but he's not even entered in it. It looks like the Grand National is his primary goal, and just be a sense to me that he's building up to the Grand National. Like he was unlucky, he fell early on at Ascot last time in Jungle Boogie's race, and just kind of feel that maybe he's building up towards the Grand National. Ginny's Destiny, he just hasn't put it together this season. Like he was very high class horse last season. There wasn't much between him and Grey Dawning last season. They kept on meeting and beating each other. He was well beaten in the Peterborough Chase last time, so he's going to have to do better than that. Maybe he's a better horse going left-handed than going right-handed. We don't have a huge amount of evidence for him going right-handed, but he's a talented horse of Paul Nichols, and if he put it all together, racing off the same mark as Iroko and obviously carrying the same weight, he could be. I think he could put it up to Iroko. He won the time from Novice Handicap Chase on this day last year, so we know that the track of and he's had lots of good runs at Cheltenham. I think he's won there 3 times, so the track is a positive for him. Imperial Saint, again, really progressive horse. Just wonder maybe is he a better horse at Aintree than he is anywhere else. He's won 3 of his last 4, all 3 at Aintree. He's improved from a mark of 117 to a mark of 144, and he's a really nice progressive horse. But just it's a bit of an unknown for me, moving from Cheltenham from Aintree to Cheltenham. He's a horse maybe worth keeping an eye on. But I think if I had to have a bet in the race, it'd probably be Ginny's Destiny that I'd be going with.
Yeah, look, I was kind of swaying towards Europe, but I could see the case for the 2 up the top of the waist there. I didn't really think there was anything massively well handicapped looking down along them. A few of them who've kind of gone up plenty, and a couple of older horses in there. Look, Ivoko, interesting, yeah, how he fares first time in a handicap. It could be the fact that he is building up towards the Grand National, but I just thought he's run behind Tree Lawn in the graduation chase at Haydock. He obviously fell last time, but the one before that, I thought Tree Lawn was after a slip in the field when they jumped. Was it the 3rd or 4th last? He kind of put in a big jump, and it looked like Ivoko had loads and loads and loads to do, but he kind of just eased himself into it and got into a battle with Tree Lawn. I think that's good form. I think America 152 doesn't look too bad at all. Whether it'll be his day tomorrow in Cheltenham or not, but I'd say he's a horse who could definitely win big races down the line for the John Joe O'Neill team and JP McManus as well. But we'll go on to one of the graded chases of the day, the 225, the Cotswolds Chase. Grade 2 over the 3 mile 1. This is an interesting contest. Now we've got L'Empresse in here at even money favourite, and Gentleman's Game at 9-4 for Mouse Morris and Dara O'Keefe. 2 horses who kind of ran, I suppose, similar-ish races over the Christmas period. L'Empresse 3rd in the King George, Gentleman's Game 3rd behind Gallopin des Champs in the Savile. So both ran with credit over Christmas. Gentleman's Game does have to concede the £6, which is probably swaying the bookmakers in favour of L'Empresse. But this should be an interesting contest on 2 horses, maybe look 9 and 10-year-olds, but I think they've only run 14 and 15 races a piece. So like probably ones who haven't got massive miles in the clock. And I think 2 horses who still could have a big race in them down the line.
Yeah, I agree with that, Emma. And the other thing about their runs over Christmas, they were both making their seasonal debuts, so there's every chance they both progress from that. L'Empresse, it was good to see him back. Like he ran such a big race in the King George season before last, and then he was off the track for over a year after that. So it was good that he came back. He finished 4th in the Gold Cup last season, and he's a Brown Advisory Chase winner, so we know that Cheltenham is a good track for him. He's won 2 of his 3 runs there. That his fourth in the King or in the Gold Cup was his only defeat at Cheltenham. And yeah, I thought he ran well in the King George. He does tend to go to his left. Maybe that wasn't as pronounced in the King George this year as it normally is, or as it was when he last ran in the King George. So he'll be happier going back at Cheltenham and happier going back left-handed. So, and as you said, he gets £6 from Gentleman's Game as a bonus. So he's definitely the right favourite. But I agree with you on Gentleman's Game. He's a likely race horse. He's 9 now, but he's only had 7 runs over fences, and he won the Charlie Hall Chase last season, after which it looked like he could be a big player in the top staying chases last season. But he didn't get a run at it then. He didn't reappear until the Gold Cup. He was pulled up in that race, and that's his only run at Cheltenham. So that's a bit of an unknown. But he just had an interrupted preparation. It wasn't his running at Cheltenham, and then he went on to Aintree after that. But he had his run in the Quintestan Gold Cup. That was a massive run. Like, he finished 4th behind Fastest Slow and Gallopin de Champs. He was only beaten 5 lengths in the end, and he was a wee bit shorter room as well on the far side on the run to the second last. He just had to be checked, and then kept on well. It never looked like he was going to win the race from that point, but he didn't wilt. He stuck to his task well. That was 3 miles and a furlong. His run in the Savills Chase last time, that was a really good run as well. Okay, again, he was no match for Gallopin de Champs, but he kept on and finished 3rd, and he had some good horses behind him. So, I just thought maybe he should have been a wee bit closer in the market to L'Empressé than he is. Capodanno was actually the horse that I was looking at here at the 5-day stage of Willie Mullins, but he's not declared. He was entered, he's not declared. So that's a pity. He's a horse who goes well at Cheltenham. He won the race last year, but that's a moot point now. But no, I thought Gentleman's Game. I thought he might maybe get close to L'Empressé in this.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Was his 4th run over fences, I think, when he ran in the Gold Cup last year? Like, it was a massive ask. I think Mouse was saying there was kind of kept having issues between the Charlie Hall and the Gold Cup, and I suppose they'd nowhere else to go really other than that. And like, it was a big ask. Obviously didn't work out at the time, but I think, like you said, with the kind of benefit of that experience now, he looks like potentially a better horse again this year. Like, I thought his run in the Savills was brilliant as well. Like, he kind of led the chase behind Gallopin de Champs. I suppose he kind of sat behind him the whole way. Couldn't just quicken when Paul ups the tempo, but no shame in that either. I'd say he's a horse, who can land something like this. Giving away the way to L'Empressé won't be easy, but he improved an awful lot from 1st to 2nd one last year. So he was beaten by Easy Game before he went on to beat Brave Man's Game in the Charlie Hall last year. So you'd imagine he'll come on plenty for the run. Darragh O'Keefe, he's a wily pilot. I'd say he'll have a plan in his head for this as well. I think 9 to 4 about him doesn't look a bad price at all. I'd say we're on along the same lines there. Gentleman's Game, a horse who could have a little bit more up his sleeve over fences, I think. But we'll move on to the next big race of the day, the 3:34. Is it, or is it 3 o'clock? Yeah, 3:35. Sorry, the Cleve Hurdle. It's grade 2 over the 3 miles. Crambo coming in here on the back of another long walk win last time. He's 9 to 4 favourite. Strong leader, though, the Liverpool Hurdle winner from Aintree last year in their 11 to 4 as well. So 2 grade 1 winners topping the head of the betting. Garwell Road, an extremely consistent horse, I suppose, for the Twiston Davis team in there as well at 4 to 1. Crambo, Don, I suppose to start off with him, he's won 2 long walks now, but a little bit disappointing in between those 2 runs last year, you'd have to say. What do you think of him?
Yeah, I'm against him. I'm at the track. I just think he seems to be a better horse at Ascot than he is anywhere else. And yeah, like he went on to the Stairs Hurdle after winning the Long Walk Hurdle last year, and he was pretty well fancied. He wasn't a massive price, and he disappointed, and he was pretty well beaten in the Liverpool Hurdle as well behind Strong Leader. So look, good to see him bouncing back at Ascot and winning another Long Walk Hurdle. But his only run at Cheltenham was in that Stairs Hurdle. So again, it's just an unknown, isn't it? We just maybe, like, obviously that run wasn't his running in the Stairs Hurdle for whatever reason. Maybe it wasn't the track, but perhaps it was. And just think maybe he's priced up on the back of his Long Walk Hurdle win the last day. Strong Leader, similar in my mind, not quite as pronounced, because he did run really well in this race last year. He stayed on to finish a close-up 3rd behind Noble Yates, but he's an Aintree horse. He loves Aintree. He's run there 3 times. He won the Liverpool Hurdle last season. His only defeat there was when he finished second behind In the Pocket. And again, he disappointed last time in the long walk hurdle. He was sent off a short price favourite for that. He's had a wind operation since then, so obviously maybe that could see him improve again. And with that run on this track in this race last year, then that's a positive for him. So I'd prefer Strong Leader over Crambo, but I think Gowl Road and Monmiral are the two most interesting horses in the race. You said Gowl Road, and he's been pretty popular in the market during the week. But he's run. He loves Cheltenham. He keeps on running well there. He's won once there, but his last 4 runs have all been there, and he's been second in them all. And last time in the Relkeel Hurdle, I thought he did really well to keep on as well as he did, to finish second behind Lucky Place. Lucky Place is a progressive staying hurdler. I think Gowl Road that 2.5 mile trip was probably on the sharp side for him. He should improve for stepping back up to 3 miles. And there's not a whole lot of pace in this race. He's only maybe Botox has and Kerry Hill. They're maybe his only real potential rivals for the early lead. And Botox has was held up on the long walk hurdle. You'd imagine there's a good chance that he'll get an easy lead. And Sam Twiston-Davis took that easy lead in the Relkeel hurdle last time. His finishing percentage of 109% tells you that it wasn't a strong pace, and he was able to dictate it himself. I think dictating a sedate pace, if he can, over a longer trip, that will suit him even better. And if he can get onto the front end and get into his rhythm and just be able to ride the race that he wants to ride, and he's a very, very good jockey, Sam Twiston-Davis, I think. There's every chance that he will be able to have it all to himself up front, and if he does, I think he could take a lot of passing, because he doesn't stop at Gowl Road. He keeps on finding. And Monmiral, like, he's the Pertemps final hurdler from last season. He had 5 runs over fences. It didn't really happen for him. He went back over hurdles last year for the Pertemps qualifier at Chepstow, and then he went on and won the Pertemps final. He was a big price, but he was good in winning it. He stayed on really well on the near side, and then this season he was well beaten on his first run in the handicap hurdle at Newbury, but then went and ran really well in the long distance hurdle at Newbury on Coral Gold Cup Day, when he finished second behind Strong Leader. They had it between them from a long way out, and he didn't make a bad mistake at the last, but he just seemed to lose momentum a little bit on landing over. He went a wee bit to his left, and that wasn't ideal. Look, he was the second best horse in the race on the day. He wasn't going to be Strong Leader. But we know that he goes well at Cheltenham. His only run over hurdles there was in that Pertemps final last season, which he won. So I think he could go well as well. But I just come down, of the two of them, I just prefer Gowl Road. I think that there is a good chance that he'll get an easy lead, and if he does, he could take a lot of passing.
Yeah, I can see the case you're making, and going for the 2 horses with course form, like Monmiral course and this winner, Gowl Road, winner around Cheltenham as well. Like, there probably is question marks about Crambo and Strong Leader at the track, but I probably just would be willing to forgive Strong Leader. Look, like you mentioned, he ran well in this last year. There was a really messy run as well. He wasn't really jumping right. He was kind of missing hurdles at the wrong time. And, he went around wide, and he kind of just got going really late and started a late run and stayed on well. Third behind Noble Yates, wasn't it? But much more professional at Aintree, like you mentioned. And he can travel and jump when he wants. You'd have to put a line through his last run in the long walk. I mean, that couldn't have been the horse he was. Like, he was very professional winning the Liverpool hurdle. Maybe he is just a better horse at Aintree, but I'd probably give him another chance at Cheltenham. I think he's maybe a horse with a little bit more to give at this level. I don't think any of these will be getting seriously involved at the business end of the stairs hurdle come the festival. But I think Strong Leader, he's a good horse, and I'll give him one more chance to prove he can act around this track before I desert him completely. But Strong Leader for me, and Gowl Road for Donn. Then we'll go on. Did I miss a race? Oh God, I missed the big one, Constitution Hill. I was wondering. I said we're getting very late in the card. They won in the Unibet hurdle the last race of the day, but. Yeah, Constitution Hill. What time is this on? 3 o'clock. So yeah, the big race of the day, obviously. Look, really disappointing, I suppose, that Lossiemouth didn't travel over, but will he probably going for the DRF with her now, you'd imagine. So bit of a penalty kick. Well, I suppose a massive penalty kick here for Constitution Hill. 1 to 10 favourite. Next best in the betting, Brentford Hopes, who you'd imagine will have no hope in here. Phil Didary's Gordon travels over to pick up a bit of prize money, you'd imagine, and no better than that. Like, he's rated £30 plus, better than any of his rivals, Donn. I suppose, look, there's no point really discussing this race. You'd imagine he's going to kick them out of sight. But just to ask you, what did you make of his comeback run last time when he beat Lossiemouth? I don't think we've been chatting since, unless I'm wrong.
No, look, I thought he was very good, Emma. I thought like it was the first run in a year. He'd probably come on for it, but look, he did everything right. His jumping was good. He travelled with that verve that you like to see in him. And look, Lossiemouth underperformed, that's for sure. She didn't travel like she normally can. She didn't jump that well, and she was still only beaten 2.5 lengths in the end. So, it was but at the same time, there wasn't really a point in the race at which you thought that Constitution Hill wouldn't win it, was there? So
no,
I thought he did really well, and it was. I think it was. I'm sure connections, Michael Buckley, Nicky Henderson, and the team. I'm sure they were delighted. You couldn't really have been much happier than you couldn't have expected much more than he did. I thought on the day.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Some people maybe knocking him online, but like a horse who had been off for so long, kind of just blowing out the cobwebs. Really, I thought he was really impressive. But I do agree, Lossiemouth, she never really looked happy. But Willie kind of sounded confident during the week that he can wind her up to do a bit better. So interested to see where she goes next as well. And I'm hoping she will still line up in the champion hurdle, because I think she can do a lot better than that. Whether or not she could beat Constitution Hill is another question, but I don't think she showed herself in the best light. But just the champion hurdle picture in general, I suppose, he's obviously the one they all have to beat, but he's quite a short price favourite now. Is there anyone you think could take that crown off him?
Yeah, look, it's we're going to learn an awful lot more now in a week's time at the Dublin Racing Festival. So that's fascinating. And as you said, where's Lossiemouth going to go now? Is she going to join Stateman in the Irish Champion Hurdle? Maybe, because I think Willie, like Lossiemouth won this race last year, and Willie did say that it was on our radar again this year. Then Nicky Henderson said Constitution Hill is going to run there, and then you're kind of thinking, is he going to go and take him on again at this stage when he doesn't need to? But yeah, I'd be surprised if she doesn't go for the Champion Hurdle, all being well. Emma, it's like Willie hasn't really veered from that kind of plan even after she was beaten in the Christmas Hurdle. So I'm sure he'll be readying her for another go at Constitution Hill at Cheltenham in March, as opposed to at Cheltenham in January. I suppose if there's one horse in there who could take a good step forward again, it's Anzadam. So I don't know if he's going to run the Irish Champion Hurdle now. I think Willie was talking about a race at Naas the following week.
He was declared for Naas on Sunday. This Sunday, which it's a bit of a penalty kick race, so it's not really much. But it's Sunday. I'm sure he was declared for a 3-runner race, but it's not going to tell us a whole pile about him, I suppose. But he did sound really keen on him now, to be fair.
He was very good, wasn't he, when he won at Ferryhouse? That was kind of a bit of a blow you away performance. And yeah, he's just the kind of the darkest one in there, isn't he, among the top ones in the Champion Hurdle?
Yeah, he will be interesting for sure. And it was actually interesting, Willie was saying last year that they had him obviously last year and he must have had a setback or something, but he had him as his #1 juvenile hurdler at the time. So full management mightn't have got the spotlight if Amsterdam stayed on the scene. But yeah, he's an interesting one, definitely. Whether or not it'll be a little bit too quick for him, but Willie seems to think he can perform at the level. So interesting to see what he does. I'm still kind of holding out a bit of hope that Brighter Days Ahead might go for the Champion Hurdle, because I think it's obviously hard to do what she did time and time again, going off so quick and stuff like that. But I don't know, is it confirmed, is she going to the DRF? Maybe if they skipped that and gave one more crack at going flat out in a Champion Hurdle, I think she'd be really, really hard to pass. But we have to see what Gordon decides, I suppose.
She'd be brilliant in the Champion Hurdle. It'd be brilliant to see her taking on Constitution Hill in a Champion Hurdle with Lossiemouth and a Stateman in there as well.
Yeah, I'd love that. And you'd have to sacrifice Paul King of Kingsfield, like he goes a fair pace. But I think like if she's going to win a Champion Hurdle, like that would be the way. It's hard to see. I know Willie was kind of saying during the week that Stateman didn't perform, but they just went so hard. Like you would rarely see any horse pick up off that pace again. But like she kind of confirmed that everything Gordon was kind of saying about her all along. Like last year, he was saying she's the best horse he's ever had, pretty much, and she was beaten in Cheltenham then, but she's definitely confirming it this year. I'd say she's a fair animal. Yeah,
the last horse Gordon was as bullish about was Don Cossack, and he won a Gold Cup. He wasn't wrong. But yeah, I like the Stateman obviously didn't perform. Like Winterfell got the better of him for the runner-up spot, so we just don't know how the real Stateman will fare. But hopefully we'll find out now on Sunday week.
Yeah, it should be interesting. A few more pointers towards the champion hurdle. Maybe not this weekend, but probably at the Dublin Racing Festival. You'd imagine Constitution Hill will kick these out of the way. But we'll go on. I think one more race we wanted to, was it one? Yeah, I did out the 3:35. So we'll go to the 4:10, kind of over and back a little bit. Just going to give this a quick mention. We've got Potter's Charm, who's I think currently second favourite for the Turners Novice Hurdle at the festival. He's 4 to 5 favourite in here. He's been really, really impressive since joining the Twiston Davis team. He's already a grade 2 and grade 1 winner over hurdles. I'd say deserved a short price favourite in here. Bill Joyce then, look, it might, this, I think, what I was kind of thinking about this race might be a pointer towards that Turner's anti-post betting. Bill Joyce was second to current favourite, the new Lion, in the Challow last time. So how he fares against Potter's Charm could be a little bit of a pointer towards that, I think. Donn, I suppose Potter's Charm, he's been really impressive so far. It's hard to knock him, I think.
Oh, you can't knock him. And no, he's been very good and he's been improving. And he's got Cheltenham form as well, over 2.5 miles. So there's an awful lot to like about him. And at Aintree last time, we didn't see a huge amount of the race. But what we saw was him prominent, and then in front when they came back into view and he stayed on. The times of the race tell you that it was a fast run race. The finishing speed percentage was 97%. So they went quickly and he was up there with the pace from early and he kept on well to win nicely. So, and that was over 2 miles and a furlong. So I was kind of worried about him going into that race. I thought he might be vulnerable over a shorter trip, but he wasn't. He has the pace as well to be able to do that. I was surprised to see him in here actually, because I thought they said afterwards, after the entry race, that he'd go straight to Cheltenham. So they're just obviously taking this in along the way. I think Bill Joyce is an interesting horse. When he won the winter hurdle at Sandown, he was very good. He was a bit keen early on. John O'Neill allowed him stride away then in front, and he stayed on really well to beat Quebecois, who reopposed here. I'd say Quebecois is probably more a staying type of horse. He's a half brother to Brindisi Breeze, who won an Albert Bartlett hurdle winner. So this 2.5 mile trip might not be a strong enough test for him. But Bill Joyce, he was, as you said, he was only third behind the New Lion in the Challow Hurdle, and the New Lion won the race doing handsprings. But I just thought in the Challow Hurdle, they didn't go a really strong pace. Electric Mason led from early, and Bill Joyce kind of sat in behind. So I think if he's going to beat Potter's Charm tomorrow, then they might just allow him stride on, because he settles well in front, or he did at Sandown at the Tingle Creek Chase meeting in that winter hurdle. And if he strides away in front, especially if the ground is testing, I'm not sure what the ground is going to be like at Cheltenham, but I think it's looking like it's going to be softer than they were predicting earlier in the week. And this meeting, we normally get soft ground for the Cotswold Chase meeting, but if it does come up soft and they allow Bill Joyce stride away on out in front, then yeah, he could put it up to Potter's Charm.
Yeah, it could be an interesting one, and revealing maybe towards the novice hurdles at the festival in a few weeks' time. And it seems to be a little bit of a shift in the guard. Maybe like the UK yards seem to have some nice horses coming up this year for Cheltenham. Maybe the Irish dominance won't be as prolific, I suppose, over the week. But we'll wrap up with Cheltenham there. But just a couple of races elsewhere we're going to give a quick mention to. I thought there was a really, really good maiden hurdle here in Fairyhouse. Yeah, just give it a quick mention. Kawabunga, he was second to Kopek Boards at Christmas in a maiden hurdle. Cocktail Davin was second to Cade Doughty in a maiden hurdle at Christmas at Leopardstown, and William Money was second to Work Ahead in a maiden hurdle at Leopardstown. So this looks a really, really, really hot contest. Cocktail Davin will be interesting. Cade Doughty was a horse who really spoke really highly of at the visit during the week, the media morning, kind of building up to the Dublin Racing Festival. So whether that Cade Doughty form will get boosted or not will be interesting to see. And there's great grade 3 mares hurdle on the card there as well. Aurora Vega and Baby Kate out of Augusta Kate and Quevega. You won't get too many better bred mares there competing against each other. That'll be an interesting contest. But back to Doncaster as well. There's a good card at Doncaster, and Jessica Harrington is sending over Jatara to contest the grade 2 mares hurdle over there. Interesting, 3 miles, and she tries the cheek pieces for the first time. Maybe she was slightly disappointing on her 2 hurdle starts so far this year in Leopardstown and in the Lismullen and Navan as well. But cheek pieces on first time, she'll be interesting there. And I think there was something you fancied in Doncaster as well, Donn. What race was that?
Yeah, in the Great Yorkshire Chase. Yeah, it isn't that Jatara's gone over, as to say, Emma, and she's she was probably underperformed at Leopardstown the last 2.5. She's stepping back to 3 miles and a half of furlong. She won the Colin Owen hurdle over 2 miles and 7 at Limerick, and of course Cam's sister Tujewski, who's obviously a champion hurdle winner, but also a Grade 1 winner over 3 miles. So she's got that stamina in her pedigree as well. And yeah, the Great Yorkshire Chase at Doncaster later on. Thought Forward Plan was interesting here. He's only just beaten in the race last year. He just failed to get up and beat Annual Invictus. Now, he is £9 higher than he was then, but he's been in really good form since he won the Coral Trophy on his next run last season. And then this year, he ran really well back at Doncaster. He goes well at Doncaster. He's run there 3 times. He's never been out of the first 3 there. And last time in the 3 mile chase over tomorrow's course and distance, he kept on. He the leaders just kind of got away from him early in the home straight, but he stayed on well to finish third. He's only beaten a length and a half by Charlie Oberales. He's a pound higher now than he was then, and it wouldn't be surprising if Anthony Honeyball has had this race in mind for him since last year when he only just got beaten. So, and he kind of goes well on the good to soft ground that they usually get at Doncaster. So, look, the changing man, he sets a good standard. He was only just beaten by Victorino at Ascot last time. But I think Forward Plan, I can see him going well.
Interesting one there, the £10 claim. Never does any harm either. Bring him down to a nice low weight. But Don, I'd say we've gone through a lot of the big action over the Saturday card, which we were focusing on. Cheltenham, Doncaster, Ferryhouse, some great races over the weekend, so plenty to look forward to. And thanks very much for all your analysis throughout the day. I'm sure we'll be chatting soon again. Ahead of another big weekend of racing. But everyone who watched the show, thanks very much for tuning in. If you're going to have a gamble this weekend, make sure to gamble responsibly. And we will be back on Monday with our normal Irish Angle show to review all the week's action.